throwback for you this week. Thank you, Diego Gavin, for suggesting Stargate. Have not seen any of the shows. I'm going to put that right out there. You understand this is the prequel, not the prequel, like the very first thing of it, then the shows came after. Never seen Stargate, so it's kind of like, cool, I'm going to watch this movie. I'm going to say right off the bat, I was a bit bored in the first half of the movie. I get the setup, I get the Stargate, the symbols, the constellations, all the, things, James Spader. That was sexy, by the way, seeing James Spader, seeing young Ultron in here figuring out hieroglyphical stuff. That was nice. When they finally went through the portal, that was cool. The effects were kind of, low budget, I would say, but I like the whole when he puts his hands into it and he dips his face in, and then I'm like, well, is it wet, not wet? And then it does this, and that was cool. And then cool, exciting. And then here we are. Desert, pyramid, Egyptian type thing.
I saw Stargate when it came out, and I remembered enjoying it. The thing is, I didn't remember a lot of details about Stargate. I remember the raw imagery, raw as in the god Ra, the desert landscape, and that was really all I remembered. When I went back to watch this movie, I was actually very curious to see how I would view it now, that if I would enjoy it as much as I did before. And I did, for the most part. I mean, there are things in this movie that age. Whenever you have technology in a movie, and it's that long ago, it's completely aged. I mean, they had 256 color screens and just really bad age stuff on there. But you kind of have to look past that, because that's going to happen with any movie when they have technology in it. The actual pacing of the movie and the feeling of the movie, it really felt like a early 90s film for me. It really felt like that era of movie. There's nothing wrong. I grew up in that era, so I enjoy those movies. But I would think someone seeing it now that had never seen it when they were younger, or maybe is too young to remember that era of movies fondly, I think that would stick out to them. I think that the feel of this movie would definitely stick out. Things like the band of children, which was something that you would see in a lot of movies like this. Things like the puppet animal you would see in a lot of movies like this. Those things probably stick out to people that are watching it now that didn't watch it then as kind of being cheesy and kind of not working. But I enjoyed those aspects of the movie. I kind of just went for the ride.
Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, the creators of that other science fiction classic Independence Day, give us another science fiction classic, Stargate. A different type of film, but still generally a science fiction action blockbuster. It actually has a really intriguing premise. Ancient alien theorists have said that perhaps aliens were involved with the pyramids in Egypt, and this movie kind of takes it to its next level with us traveling across the stars to meet those aliens. And of course, they're the nice and friendly type of aliens. Okay, they're never the nice and friendly type of aliens, of course. That's what makes it a movie, makes it an action movie. There are cliches abounding in this film, as with Independence Day. Plus, there's a lot of plot and logic holes that don't make a lot of sense, but I could actually still kind of ignore most of that and just really enjoy it.
One thing that really kind of bothered me is the military guys were picking on Daniel, James Spader. They're like, what do you mean you can't get us back? And they're picking on, I was like, dude, he's straight up telling you, I need more information to make this key work on the other side. I can do it, I need the information. And just the way that they were kind of well, we're not going to go look for anything. And he's just let's go exploring a little bit. We're here, why not? So that to me was obnoxious. And then the bonus that was seeing French Stewart, because I'm a huge fan of Third Rock from the Sun, seeing him be super dorky and comedic to really over the top, he's smaller than Daniel, so it's why let this guy punk you? But then once they got into the other world and whatnot, I really noticed the costume design was really nice of the other inhabitants there. The animatronics were really nice. I really like when movies go that mile with the animatronics, where they try to go full practical and not so much CG. For me, it helps out a lot. It's more engaging.
I liked Spader's character, Jackson, I believe it was, and Kurt Russell's character with his little underlying theme of the thing that happened to his kid and everything. I like how that all came together. It definitely has an extreme storyline with the whole bomb thing, and that he was never planning on coming back and all that stuff. Is obviously turn it up from 1 to 10, but it's kind of what you expect in a 90s action movie. The villain was just evil enough to, just alien enough, I guess, to kind of get on board with and kind of understand where they're coming from. You don't go into this movie expecting this really deep story. You don't go in this movie expecting anybody to come out of it having become a different person, philosophically. You don't really think you're going to learn anything in this kind of movie, but it's kind of a fun ride. I can see how this movie became a television show, which I have not watched, but I can see how it became a television show with the whole concept of let's go to all the places a Stargate can go to, because I assume that's what the television show was.
We had some great performances by James Spader and Kurt Russell. They both play kind of cliched characters, but they do it in a way that makes it a lot of fun, actually. Kurt Russell's stoicism is actually more interesting than when he's not being stoic. Plus, we have the creepy villain, and the way that they make his eyes flash, or his or her, there's sort of an androgyny to the character. Some very interesting costumes. The creepy alien voice really adds to the effect, makes it a very interesting villain for the film. The score actually makes it a lot better movie than it really deserves to be. The music right from the beginning is very epic. They played a lot throughout the film, so don't worry, you're not gonna miss it. You'll probably hear it about a dozen times, but it's really good. So that's okay.
Once the action finally did happen, it was good. You had these like Egyptian alien-esque type beings with their weaponry. You kind of see like there's a slight war thing going on here, but at the same time, I'm like, there's just a handful of you and hundreds of them. But I guess the whole same fear rules things and yada yada gada. So for me, not ever seeing this movie, the first part was a bit slow to get through, but after it got to a flip point of the film and it pushed forward with the whole explanation of everything, and then I'm like, okay, everything comes together. Not bad. I can see how this spawned several seasons and spin-offs of the show and whatnot.
The ending was satisfying enough for me, where each of the characters ends up, where Kurt Russell is kind of okay now, and Jackson's got a place he can call his own, and I like all that. That worked for me. The one thing in this movie that really bothered me was, well, it basically stems around French Stewart's character. Although it's all the Marines that kind of take part in it, you would assume that if they found a Stargate in real life, that they would send the best of the best of the best on this mission, right? Not a bunch of whining, sniveling idiots. They really sent a bunch of whining, sniveling idiots. They get there, and because they're scared because they can't go back right away, they start picking on the nerd. It's just stupid. Mature people that are in the military that have a mission to do aren't gonna throw a guy's book bag down a dune. It's just not gonna happen. So I thought that was kind of silly. I guess it was necessary to have the path that they take where they don't like each other at the beginning but they accept him at the end, that whole thing, but I just thought it wasn't necessary. I don't think they needed it at all.
It's not a perfect movie. There's a really goofy alien animal in it that takes up way too much time and is just kind of cheesy and eye-rolling. And again, there's a lot of mistakes and kind of ridiculousness. Probably the biggest one is that they describe this particular symbol as the Eye of Ra. It's actually the Eye of Horus. So I'm surprised that during the entire making of this movie, no one that was involved with making it ever pointed out, like, actually we called this the wrong thing like the whole time. It got all the way to the theaters and people saw this movie and no one said, that's actually not the Eye of Ra. But if you are not super intelligent about Egyptian culture and you just like a really fun science fiction film, Stargate is the way to go. It's a 9 out of 10.
So I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's not a horrible movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It's worth a try. If you haven't seen it before, see it. Expect a good 90s movie, but don't expect anything mind-blowing because that's not what this movie's about.
I'm glad I got to see it. I'm probably not going to watch it again. If I was to give this movie a rating, like if it came out today, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. Just because of the grind getting to where stuff finally had to happen. Yeah, sometimes when I watch movies, I need some action. I need some explosions. But I do dig the whole Egyptian thing, God, the sun god Ra, all that stuff. That was really cool. Like I said, once the scales tipped into that direction, then it was just kind of like the floodgates opened up, and then it really immersed you into this whole, here's the conflict, here's this, here's that. We're going to blow some shit up because I was sent here to find a threat, neutralize it. You know, if you're into sci-fi stuff and you're a fan of the show, obviously you're a fan of the movie. So what'd you think of Stargate? Go ahead, throw that down below. If not, other suggestions for other throwback movies that we will do and review for you. Go on ahead and like this video, favorite it, hit that subscribe button. By doing that, you get more throwbacks like this, plus movie reviews, unboxing videos. And remember, you heard it here at The Source.